Probably my last live stream from the apartment, seeing as it's time to move back in the box truck. You see Felix back there moving his ears? He's laying on my jacket. So he's like right here. He's right there. I'm not going to disturb him. I'm just going to scratch his ears. There he goes. Hi, baby. Hi, baby boy. I shouldn't have. Now he's gonna move. Don't leave me, Felix. I like your company. Alrighty, cool. We got people jumping into the chat. Wonderful. I'm just sitting here with Felix. He's sitting right there behind me, hanging out with me. So hello everybody. It's pretty much rounding into my last week in housing. So I'm getting ready to move back into the box truck. I've been spending pretty much all of this week getting my new battery bank installed, adding 2 new solar panels to the roof. I'm adding on to the panels that were already up there. And just rewiring a bunch of things so that they work with the batteries, because I had them wired in a specific way so that I could use the Jackery as a power source. Basically, I had to wire things to 12-volt plugs, or there were certain things that I had plugged into regular 120 plugs because I had more of those on the Jackery than 12-volt plugs. But now I can sort of roll things back so that they're I'm using 12 volt as much as possible because I'm not using Jackery anymore, and I'm going to be using a standard battery setup. I'm super excited about it. I'm actually super excited to get, back to living in the box truck and really see how this setup works under like regular use and conditions. And sort of compare and contrast that to what life was like with the Jackery 1500. Again, people seem to get confused. This is not my first DIY solar system. I had a DIY solar system in the minivan, plus a Jackery eventually. I had a DIY solar system in the Chevy van, plus a Jackery on the side. And it's just when I got into the box truck, I could not afford batteries, and I already had a Jackery 1500 I had been sent to review. So I was like, I'll live on that while I save money to build the battery system that I want to build, and focused on doing everything else, and basically wired everything so that I could just use the Jackery 1500, which was the biggest battery I had at the time. It wasn't because I didn't know how to build a solar system. It was because I didn't have the money for it. I did buy solar panels to put on the roof, wired it to a 12-volt plug, and basically plugged that into the Jackery. And that is what I've gotten by on for the past year. So I'm super excited to try out my lithium battery bank on the road, actually living in it full time. But no joke, I've been living in this apartment for a minute, so it's like I've gotten used to a few conveniences. Like I have laundry here. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to worry about getting water. I don't have to worry about like fetching propane, which was good because it allowed me not to have to do those things on top of like working X amount of hours a day. So it has been a nice little vacation, but I am ready to like jump back into living in the box truck full time and putting together this new battery system has really like excited me, because now I'm excited to see, sort of the world of having these batteries. I will jump into the chat, but I just wanted to talk a little bit for a second. So just to circle back to the Jackery conversation. So for anybody who isn't up to date, this is what's been going on. So the Jackery 1500, I noticed, wasn't charging anymore when my box truck got back from the mechanic. Maybe it had started before it got back from the mechanic, but when it got back from the mechanic, I noticed the Jackery 1500 wasn't charging properly. It wasn't charging properly on solar. It wasn't charging properly with the wall plug. It wasn't charging properly with the 12-volt plug. So I knew it was the Jackery and none of the chargers, which I wish it was one of the chargers or a bad solar panel or something as simple as that, because, these were all cheaper than having to figure out, either one, buying a new battery, or two, how to fix or replace the Jackery. So I reached out to Jackery, and I even said, hey, you know what? If I have to pay to repair this, if it's cheaper than buying basically, a new battery, I am perfectly happy with paying for a repair. I even offered that on the table. I don't think Jackery does that. Jackery either decides that you qualify for a replacement or you don't. There is no middle ground where it's like this thing broke, and you can send it to them and they will fix it. It's not that. It's either you qualify for replacement or you don't. Oh, shoot. Give me a second. I'm going to go grab my charger because it's trying to run out. I'm on a couch that's really low. So, I'm up. I got to go grab a charger. Hi, Felix. Felix, talk to everybody. Say hi, Felix. Don't look at me. Look at the screen. You're like, I don't know what that crazy human is doing. Why is she running around? Look over here, Felix. Look. Say hi to everybody. Look over here. Say hi. Hi, Internet. Yeah, that way. Look that way. Okay, don't look that way. Don't go anywhere. Felix thinks I'm crazy right now. He doesn't really understand what's going on. Are you going to leave or are you going to hang out? You should stay. Stay, Felix. You're cuter than me, so I need you on camera. Don't leave. Lay down. There you go. Good cat. Okay, so continuing. Mickey's probably in the bedroom. I don't know why I saw that pop up. But, so basically, I emailed Jackery and we got into sort of a circular conversation where it was like, here's the information. Okay, got the information. You qualify for repair. Next email, can you send us this information? Send them that information. Okay, but can you send us this information? I was like, I can't send you that information because I explained a situation to you in which that information doesn't exist. They kept asking me what my order number is. Again, because if you have that, it's a very direct process. Went through this about 3 times, and then finally, I got another email that was circling back to the beginning of the conversation. So I wrote back to them. I was like, you know what? If you actually look into the history of this help desk thread that has been going on, which clearly you haven't, you would have the answer to all these questions that you were asking me for like the 3rd time in a row. Am I too loud for you, bud? He just turned his back on me. And so finally, amazingly, when I said, you know what, I am glad that I'm looking for another power provider, that's when suddenly they sent me a FedEx return ticket. Just immediately after I finally got angry and I was like, you know what? I'm just annoyed. You're not paying attention to this thread. You keep going back and asking me the same questions over and over again. I just need a yes or a no, and I'm glad I'm not waiting on you. I'm looking into another power provider. And that quick, they sent me a FedEx return ticket. I don't know if they're going to replace it. All I know is I sent them the broken one, and we'll see what happens because I am so done with them. And I say that even knowing I have a Jackery 300 that I have been using. I still like it. It's still doing okay. But would I ever trust all of my power needs to Jackery again in the future? Probably not. Will I use that Jackery 300 until it dies? Absolutely. Do I still think there's some value in power stations in general? Yes, but I would be reluctant to recommend that as a long-term solution for anyone contemplating full-time van life on the road, especially if that's your only power source. Short term, maybe it's what they need to get, somebody would need to get started, but I think you should always have it in your plan and in your sights to eventually transition to a self-built system where if a component breaks, you have the power to replace a component, because it just gives you so much more flexibility in fixing a problem. Again, this doesn't mean there's no value in power stations, and I'm sure there are people out there who still love their Jackeries. I still love my Jackery 300. I have nothing bad to say about that unit. But this customer service experience, honestly, when the 1500 was working, I had no complaints with it as an active working product, but it literally went from working great to not working at all. And then I was basically getting repeatedly, sent into circles by their customer service. And that was like the worst part, because if this was a situation where this was my sole power and I had no resources, I would not have power when I moved back into the box truck. And if somebody was in a situation where they really, luckily I had just done this job, luckily I had some money that I could like try to work things out with. But if somebody was in a situation where they didn't have those resources, they would have been out a very expensive power station. And so it's more the behavior of the customer service I have a problem with, because electronics are going to break. I don't care what you buy. I don't care if you buy a Jackery, a Blue Eddy, a EcoFlow. Somebody who's bought every single one of those units have had a problem with it, because that's just mechanics. That's just things that are built. There's always going to be a flawed unit. There's always going to be something that breaks. You could have 9 out of 10 customers who never have a problem, but there will be at least 1 out of 10 who does. And for me, it's not the fact that a problem appeared, it's how the problem was handled once it appeared. And I was very unhappy with the circular emails I was sent on, and that I wasn't even given a plan of action until I got angry and basically wrote an angry email in reply. Sorry, I haven't been entirely in the chat because I just wanted to get all this out. So that's basically the situation with Jackery. As of now, I have sent it back via FedEx because I will be moving on. If they do send a replacement, it's going to come, to the theater, because that's the address I gave them. And luckily, if it does, my boss can just hold it for me until I get back, if they do send a replacement. And if they don't, I already have another power system going, so it's like no skin off my back what they do at this point. It'll just be to see if they actually replace it or not. So yeah, that's the long tale of sort of my struggle with Jackery. But like I said, I already have the new power system set up, and I'm excited to, start to use that and see how it performs under real life conditions. And it's something I wanted anyway. I was just pushed into doing it sooner than I expected, and sort of having to get everything within like a month, as opposed to being able to spread it out over time. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm going to go way back in the history of the chat, because I've been running my mouth, and I even got some super chats, but I just wanted to keep flowing with the conversation, because I wanted all of you to hear it, especially right up front for anybody who watches this later. Because like the important part of me has been the report of the customer service experience, as it were. Kelly B says, I'm going to be spoiled with those big batteries. I hope so. After, living in a car with like, I think I had like 100-watt power station and some little like charging banks like this when I lived in the car. I'm looking forward to being spoiled with my big batteries. I feel like I earned my big batteries. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to being like super spoiled with my big batteries. A bus life story. Hey, what's up? So happy to see you in the chat. Oh man. Linda Ortiz says hi from snowy Denver. We had some hail the other day and it scared me. I've been too much a California girl, I guess. I was like, what is this stuff falling from the sky? What is happening? There hasn't been a lot of snow that sticks, but further up in the mountains, you can definitely see snow. And some of the people who go to my gym, they live at a higher elevation, so they've actually had snow at their house. Luckily, a lot of things that have fallen usually gets warm enough by the middle of the day. Not only is it not sticking, most of it melts. It is a little colder now. I'm like, I wanted fall weather. Why is it already cold? I am not a fan. It's supposed to be fall, not already cold. um, Princess Pamela, thank you for reminding everybody to hit the thumbs up. Purple Tia, thank you for the $10 super chat. I love the little sticker. It's adorable. Let me see. A Bus Life story. Isaac says, I canceled my contract with Jackery. I did not like the new marketing person. I agree with you. There used to be a lady named Jenny. I assume that's who you dealt with it as well. And that person was great. Like, honestly, like, the first Jackery 1500 they sent me actually had a broken screen. And I literally sent her an email, and she sent me a replacement unit like right away. She was like, all right, cool. I'm going to send you a FedEx receipt, and I'm going to send you a new unit. So literally my return unit was on the way back while a new unit was on the way to me. So Jenny was great back in the day. I heard she got promoted, which is, I could see that because she was really good, but whoever they have handling things now is terrible. Nancy McIntyre says, where's Mickey? Probably asleep on the bed in the bedroom, probably. Kelly B says, that's how you get him to look. Tell him the opposite of what you want. I think it's when I was trying to get Felix to, like, look at the screen. Kelly B says, yes, that is nuts. They can easily look into the history. Exactly. Like, I literally gave them information over and over again, explaining the situation and even saying what I was open to. I just needed a number to work with before I started spending money on new batteries. And at a certain point, I said, screw it. I'm going to go ahead and move forward with my battery plan because I cannot wait on them and then find myself without enough power. Because as much as I love my Jackery 1500, it's about good enough for turning the lights on and off and maybe a couple of small things. But it's not something I could have lived with, you know, once I was fully back on the road. So, yeah. Julianne says, it sounds like they start out the customer service chat with a bot, and then if you get angry, they put a live person in the chat to solve the issue. I definitely think it went in and out. Like, I think there was parts where, like, it was a bot response, and then it was a human response, and then the bot was back. But yeah, after I got annoyed, I was just like, I don't care anymore what you guys do. I'm just done, but I'm also going to let you know why I'm done. Nancy McIntyre says, I got 2 Jackery 240s and 1 solar panel. Hope it's working out for you. I love my Jackery 300. It's just not, it was never going to be, even if I got 2 of them, like, I needed a better primary power source than just the Jackery 300. Freedom Dove says, I bought a few power stations so I could have backup systems. I mean, that's smart. That's one way to do it. Because then at least, you know, if you do get into a situation, you have something else to use. But also, like, I didn't want split power anymore. Because at one point, yeah, I used the 300 for certain things and I used the 1500 for certain things. But it was annoying not to be able to route everything to just like a central battery. So, like, it was time. You know, it was just time, and the universe pushed, you know, me in that direction. Elizabeth says, Dawn, do you have a generator for emergencies? Yes, I have a generator not only for emergencies, but if I need to shore power charge, I can use the generator to basically plug into it and charge up the batteries. But the thing is, you have to have a place to pull out the generator. You need to have space to run the generator. And when you're just driving, you can't do that. Like, you're driving down the highway and then, like, you get off the highway and, like, you're at a rest stop overnight and you're not, like, at a campground or someplace you can pull out a generator. So I have my generator. I love having my generator, but there's a lot of situations where you can't pull out a generator. You know, if you're in a shopping center, you know, catching a quick bite, you can't pull out your generator. I have But like generally, you have to like find the right spot to do that. And unless I can get a little isolated corner where I can sneak it out for a little bit and it's kind of blending in with the road noise, like it isn't always ideal to be able to pull out the generator. So it isn't a catch-all for every problem. It's one of the reasons I also like having the Jackery 300, because just having it charged and sitting around is like, if I need power real quick for something, it's great for that. So yeah, yes, I have just a gas generator, but it's just not something you can pull out in every situation. You need to be able to pull it out, juice it up, plug in, and sit still for a while, which isn't always possible with the way I live my life and my lifestyle. Kelly B is just agreeing with me. Yeah, but that 1 out of 10 needs to be handled well, or you lose that loyalty. Exactly. I've heard people have bad experiences with Bluettis and because I've seen Bluetti get bought. I've heard of people not liking Bluetti, products because they had a bad experience with a Bluetti product. And there's people who love their Bluetti products, but that kind of proves my point, is that products are going to fail. There's always going to be somebody who has the product that fails. And everybody else, a bunch of people have a perfect experience, but it's really about how the company handles the failed product more than the fact that the product failed, unless they're all failing. And I think I can confidently say, there's a lot of Jackeries that have never failed. There's a lot of Bluettis that have never failed. There's a lot of other power stations that have never failed, but probably some did. And the fact that some did means there needs to be a system that's reasonable for customers to be able to come and say, it failed. What are my resources for fixing this, resolving this, rather if it involves a fee or repair or replacement or not. The problem is when they don't respond properly to that situation, especially considering this is a product they advertise for people to go out into the middle of nowhere with, Julianne says, until you get back, does that mean you'll be coming back to OSF in March 2023? I will not be coming back to OSF in March of 2023, but I do have a contract in the later end of next year. So it's not, the contract doesn't exactly match because it's for a completely different show on a completely different timeline. But in the later half of next year, I will be back at OSF. So yeah. I'm reading, guys. Terry Newell, thank you for the $10 super chat. I go to Florida next week. I got to Florida. Next week I'll start back for Wisconsin. How far away is that? That's a long drive, isn't it? Thank you for the $10 super chat. I'm reading. Bonnie and Clyde says, I'm curious, what does the wrench mean after names? Those are my moderators. So it's people I've given moderator power to. Oh, Freedom Dove answered the question. So did Princess Pamela. Kelly B says, run a tech support team, and they say that if someone has an issue and you've resolved it for the customer and it's done well, then you will have more loyalty than someone that never had an issue. Exactly. Like, honestly, earlier when Jenny was still running marketing, like, Jackery had my loyalty because Jenny was great. But now, whatever the heck they got going on, like, they lost it that quick, and it was less if they replaced it or not. It was more that I was sent in a circle once I, inquired about repair or replacement. And that freaking annoyed the heck out of me. So yeah, it was more the response than the product failing that bothered me. And it still does. Craig Browning says, I've had the Bluetti AC300 that failed. I'm still using the batteries to run my refrigerator and a power brick to charge it. I'm having trouble getting in contact with Bluetti. Like, that's the kind of stuff that makes you never want to buy a person's product again. That really sucks. Charlotta Edwards says, I have a Jackery and a Blue Eddy. Scott! I probably missed you because I was running my mouth. But it says, hi, Dawn. Can't stay because I got to get back to work, but wanted to say a quick hello. Hi! Oh, Bunny! Bunny from Bunny Place here! How are you? Bonnie and Clyde says, parts of Washington State having a windstorm tomorrow. Again, scary stuff. Wind speeds up to 60 miles per hour. So whoever said they were having a tornado, I feel for you. Be safe. Oh, that sucks, man. I hate heavy wind. One time I was in the desert and it wasn't, I don't know if it was a windstorm, but the winds were just heavy and I was scared. I really thought the box truck was going to get knocked over. Julie says, you mentioned a while back you might have a job in Jan, I think. Can you tell us about that yet? I'm still on the fence about talking too much about it, and that's just me being like, it's a theater job. It is not in Oregon. It would be January to March. I feel more comfortable talking more about it when I'm closer to it, and that's just my own anxiety about those type of things. So yeah, I have a job in January. I'll talk more about it sort of as I get closer to it. Yeah. Robert Dragnoff says, if Jackery is sponsoring you, I would think they should send you a replacement, no questions asked. I mean, you'd think they, just for good PR, they would do that. But apparently not. That's what that is. CC Camber Lady has a positive Blue Eddy experience. It's like, I like my Blue Eddy so much, I got another one. I've had a mixed experience with Blue Eddy. I've had two. I had one before they got popular. It was ages ago. And then they sent me one for review. And honestly, like, it worked fine. Like, I had no major issues with it. I ended up gifting it away. But it wasn't because I didn't like it. It was just because at the time I found somebody who needed one. And at the time with what I had, it was the one that didn't make sense to keep. So I gave it to somebody else who needed some power. Freedom Dove says, so weird, Jackery used to be responsive. And like I said, if it's a clear and direct situation, I don't think you'll have as much problems as I had. But I think they've set up their system in a certain way that if they can't track it through that system, and I think it's fairly new, it's something that was instigated after I got my Jackery. Like, if you don't fit into the box of that system, it's annoying. And I think it goes back to the bot thing, because they're a huge company now compared to what they were like 3 years ago. And I think this is something that all companies go through at a certain point. So, like, they've set up this system where they can give you a clear yes or no answer. And because the marketing person who initially I was working with is no longer in that role, it went into this weird sort of world where it was like, you need to give us this information. I'm like, that information doesn't exist because this is a situation out of that box. And so we ended up in circles, and I just got sick of the circles because it was clear there were people who were logging onto this help desk ticket who weren't reading the history of the ticket. They were giving generic responses, and when it wasn't that, it was a bot response, because I got the exact same email 4 times about, like, we're busy, we'll get back to you eventually. It was basically the you're a valued customer type thing. And it was the same exact email 4 times. So I knew that it was something that was pre-programmed into the system as opposed to a person replying. And then every once in a while you could tell it was a real person, but they hadn't actually read the history of the ticket, which was annoying. But again, if you bought one in 2022, you're probably in their system in a certain way, where it might be easier. But I don't know because I'm not that person. So, you know. Oh my gosh, Victoria, I'm reading my roof leak summon and got fixed today to the tune of $2,400. It's ludicrous to paint some rubber on a roof, but I've been saving for over a year to get it done. Yep. Woo! Denise, sorry, says, can you stay in Oregon and stay in a home? I love you. This is company housing. They've already let me stay here extra days. So, no, this is not a place I can permanently stay. Also, Oregon's going to get cold. So I'm not too sad about leaving. And I'm actually looking forward to going back to my house. This was a nice little break. It was a nice little vacay. It was nice while I was working the show. But I'm kind of excited to get back into my house. And, you know, get back into my life and such for a bit before I start the next job. So it's not like a sad thing. No, I cannot stay in this. This is a company management housing for employees of the festival. And just because they're in their winter show right now and they don't really need it for anything else, they've given me, you know, a 2-week extension past the end of my contract almost. So, yeah, this is not stable for the long term. Tina, please be safe. I'm kind of seeing what's going on with you right now. So please, please, please be safe. All right, cool. I think I grabbed all the questions in the Chattery chat. So I'm not seeing any new specific questions. So yeah, I don't know what else to say. I've talked about the whole Jackery situation. I'm nervous to go back into the van, but not like sad about it. Eventually I will head back through the Bay Area because there's a friend of mine I want to see before I get back to working in January. And as much as it sounds like a long way away, it's not. It's like a month and a half. Ideally, I haven't checked in to make sure of some things because I've been zeroed in on just getting the box truck ready to get back on the road. So yeah, sort of I have a loose plan of what I'm going to do. But not like a fully formed, like, I'm going to be here and then I'm going to go there and then I'm going to go there. It's very like loose in my head. And also it could change tomorrow, depending on how things go. By the way, I got this Milwaukee hat while I was in Home Depot. And somebody was like, oh, do you love Milwaukee tools? And I was like, no, I just like this hat. I mean, I do like Milwaukee tools, but they're generally kind of on the expensive side. And my Ryobi tools are doing me great, but Ryobi doesn't have a hat. Milwaukee has a hat. So I got the Milwaukee hat. And it's black, so I can wear it backstage. Like, it's mostly black. Like, you can barely tell. Even the word Milwaukee is, like, just a dark gray. So it's really great for backstage. And so, like, I have a Milwaukee measuring tape, I think. But I don't have any of their tools because I also have a bunch of Ryobi batteries. And so it just makes more sense to buy the Ryobi tools and, like, be, like, compatible with my batteries. Good point. Kelly B says, you know, a Ryobi hat would be bright green. Yeah, that wouldn't work backstage. I need black stage, you have to wear blacks. um, but yeah, I don't really have a lot more. I just wanted to check in with you guys. I know I haven't really been uh online. I haven't done lives. I at least wanted to do weekly lives for the past couple of weeks. But life got in the way. And so, like, I just kept not being able to go live. And I even started filming, like, installing the new system, and it was slowing me down, and I was running out of time. So I was like, I just don't have time. So I'll do some more, like, going over it once I'm fully moved back in the box truck, as opposed to, like, filming me doing it. I mean, I have a little bit of footage that I'll cut together, but it's going to be a lot more walking through it as opposed to showing myself doing it, because life got in the way of me doing it that way. And I actually have a bunch of archival videos that I have not done because I was focused on the job. I think I saw a question of if I work in TV. No, I work in theater. Theatra. Just stage production. I'm reading. All right. So let's say bye to the cats. If I can get up without knocking the phone over. Oh, shoot. Ow. My legs. I don't know if you can read my shirt, but it says, it's weird being the same age as old people. So here's Felix. He's been hanging out with us the whole life. Pokey, pokey, pokey. Pokey, pokey, pokey. He's like, why are you messing with me, human? Why are you messing with me? Felix, you're going to move to a moving house. You've never lived in a moving house before. How you feel about that? Yeah? I came here with one cat. I'm leaving with two. Say hi to the people on YouTube. Where'd my kitten go? Why are you a giant cat now, huh? Why are you a giant cat? Where'd my kitten go? Huh? He grew up so fast. He grew up so fast. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I think I know where Mickey is. Yep, that's where he is. Do not judge the bed. I know it's not made up. Here's King Mickey on the bed. Hi, bud. People were missing you on YouTube. He's like, I'm sleeping. Why are you bothering me? Say hi. Say hi to the people on YouTube. Huh? No? You're not going to say hi? All right. He's a good kitty. He's a good kitty. Hey. All right. Somebody asked how old is Felix. He's like 8 months old or something like that. Okay, cool. I'm scanning. All right, everybody. Bye-bye. For anybody who wanted to see the cats, I had to stick them in at the end. But it seems like we're all good. More to come, more details to come about where I'm going. People act like I have this plan. I don't really have a grand plan. All right, bye-bye.